So, animation has kind of been in a weird spot the past 5 years. With Pixar, which is supposedly, by every person I've read here online, is the gold standard of animation as well. So, if you have never heard this movie before, you must be living under a rock because they have the number one song in the world, the number one on Netflix, and probably number one on movie pirate sites too, if you don't want to pay Netflix any subscription money as well. But there is a show called K-pop Demon Hunters for the people living under a rock. Probably a massive rock because, but it has exploded on Netflix and has become one of the most popular shows in the world. Again, another show, another movie, no, not so, another movie that's sort of been released into the theaters because it would have made a lot of money. I don't understand why there's all these streaming exclusive movies when they could be released into the theaters and make a lot of money in the theaters as well. Especially this movie could have made $1 billion in the theaters. I'm not even joking now. This movie could have made $1 billion in the theaters alone as well. And Sony Animation has really dropped the ball when it came to that instead of just putting this only on Netflix because hey, it came out on theaters and made so much money, okay? And Elio would have been embarrassed because this came out at the same time Elio came out. And we all know Elio was a huge failure for, was a huge failure for Pixar. And they always say, where's our original movies? Where's our original properties, okay? Why aren't we getting original movies anymore? That's because most of the original movies and properties have moved on to streaming services. People don't realize this, but they're not, it's much easier to release something on a streaming service and it flops in the streaming service, it flops in the theaters, and you have all the headlines about how it lost tons and tons of money in the theaters as well here. That's why I'm surprised they released Elio in the theaters and not on Disney Plus, because hey, we will have had millions of headlines, people saying that Elio was a huge flop, and they could have just released it on Disney Plus and it would have made a lot of money. I think the problem is people just don't want to pay to see original movies in the theaters as well, with the exception of Sinners, obviously, which did well at the box office, making, nearly $300 million domestically. But this movie would have made a lot of money domestically, and especially outside of the US as well here. So the music of the movie is now one of the top selling music of the year, mostly because there's nothing really releasing this year that has been substantial. Like, no one listened to Period, no one listened to Virgin, no one listened to Addison, no one listened to Something Beautiful, whatever it was called, as well. All those albums were failures, despite, glowing reviews by Album of the Year, the crappy music site that nobody cares about, outside of, so-called music nerds, who claim Bork is the greatest artist of all time, when almost no one listens to her. Literally, there was an album that they considered the best album of 2025. Almost no one listened to it, okay? Almost no one listened to it. It's like the best album of 2024 was sung by like some, you know, and I get, some albums are not going to be as famous as others, but, you'd think that album, because album of the year gave it such a high score, it's called like Imaginal Disc, that's what it's called, but it didn't really do too well, okay? It had like some women on the cover. Actually, I've never listened to it, but it didn't sell too well. But album of the year, it's an album that basically album of the year basically plays to no end, but no one bought it and no one listened to it as well. Again, it's an album for music nerds. I think it really is. Okay, I haven't listened to it. I see it has a woman on the cover, and yeah, that's all I see as well here. But yeah, even the albums they praised were not the best selling albums of the year. Brat, remember that whole thing? That fad that lasted for like 2 days. And then they tanked the whole thing by saying that Kamala Harris is Brat, okay? Like, you had basically a potential trend and then you ruined it by getting political. But this show has basically taken over the entire world as well. It's the number one movie. It is the longest selling movie on the streaming service as well. It is still the number one movie on Netflix. While the things so bad to provide its music, Hunter X and Soldier Boy are dominating global music charts. And yeah, I actually watched the movie, and yeah, they were talking about how Soldier Boy was, taking over the charts as well. But now, even in the real world, both Hunter X and Soldier Boys, the two groups from the movies, I'm not gonna spoil the whole plot of the movie, but but basically they dominated the global charts and the actual movie itself. But basically now they are competing with with actual real music for the top 100. And yeah, most likely we're going to be seeing a sequel to this movie, considering how much money this movie has made, from the soundtrack to how much streams it has seen on Netflix, how much subscribers it probably has given Netflix. And I just wonder, why everyone else is taking animation now more seriously, with movies like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Transformers 1, and now this movie here. And only one company has not really taken animation seriously, okay, and that is Disney. They still see Disney has still refused to take animation seriously, because they still see animation as only for kids, and that's why Disney has continued to lose the past couple of years. They lost to Flow, which is a movie about a cat that was made in Blender for $3 million. They lost to Studio Ghibli's, I think, final movie as well, Boy and the Heron, which again, Studio Ghibli has taken animation way more seriously than Disney has done as well. Okay, and they will probably lose to this movie in 2025. And Disney continues to lose. Like, Yo-Yo is not going to win Best Animated Feature. Zootopia 2, I think, may be a contender. But then you also have The Bad Guys 2, which is a sequel to a movie that has adorned a cult following as well. And a lot of people like that movie. Okay, you have also K-Pop Demon Hunters. And animation in 2025 is just wild. Also, Nisa 2 might be nominated because of how much money it made as well here. But also, we gotta talk about the arc that Sony Animation has gone. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sony Animation went from the Emoji Movie. Yeah, this is the same company that made those terrible Smurfs movies and the Emoji Movie. Okay. And Cloud of Its Hats and Meatballs, and movie that people really don't like too much as well. To movies like Spider-Verse, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and K-Pop Demon Hunters. And also, K-Pop Demon Hunters has no Bean Mouth in it. Yeah, no Bean Mouth in the movie whatsoever, which is something that Disney refuses to listen about as well. And even DreamWorks to an extent as well. But doesn't matter if they were released into the theaters. It would have made $1 billion, I think, as well. And I think if the movie did make $1 billion in the theaters, you'll have seen Hollywood say, hey, maybe we should make more original movies that people actually want to see. Not gobbles like Ilya with the Bean Mouth as well here. Bean Mouth movies that nobody wants to see as well. And for some reason, recently by animation Twitter, there has been some people hating on the movie, which I find pretty ridiculous. But again, anything that's popular, they hate. And unless it's made by Pixar, obviously, then they'll basically praise it to no end because it's made by Pixar or Disney as well. But, yeah. And yeah, it's even more embarrassing if they actually release into the theaters, because this will release on the same day that Yo-Yo released as well. Okay, yeah, this released on the same day that Yo-Yo released. That is honestly kind of embarrassing for Disney. Okay, they got embarrassed by a studio that made the Emoji Movie. Okay, on Netflix. That's just pretty hilarious. They got embarrassed by the studio that made the Emoji Movie. Okay, because you gotta realize the studio behind K-Pop Demon Hunters is the people who made the Emoji Movie. A decade ago, the Emoji Movie came out, basically, as well, which is still considered to this day one of the worst movies ever made, as well. Okay, but even then, I'm glad they didn't make the Smurfs movie, Sony Animation, but Nobody cared about that sports movie as well. But yeah, it has completely defeated the the emoji. It has completely defeated Yo. Okay, and animation in 2025 is kind of in a rough place because Disney is no longer the top dog of animation. They haven't been for the past couple of years, by the way. But and it'll be even more balanced in 2025. Okay, not 2025, 2026. Because Disney's gonna be competing with another Minions movie, the Mario Bros. Movie 2, Cowboy vs. Acme, which was I think a canceled movie, The Cat in the Hat, which again, rolling my eyes. The only movie that Disney would be have any successes is 2025. That's it. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And we have a bunch of other movies releasing as well, like Coyote vs. Acme, Fire Gain, or Release Date as well. Hoppers. But I actually looked at the trailer for Hoppers. It looks mid as well. It does look kind of funny, but it's just more of the same. Like, Pixar isn't innovating anymore. They're just making the same movie over and over and over again as well. Okay, once I saw the Bean Mouth, I was like, nope, don't care. Okay, then you have the Mario Bros. Movie sequel. The only Disney might have success with Toy Story 5 because it's a part of a franchise. But yeah, that's what this video here. Goodbye.